to the Custom Vantage Office training video on customizing reports. Within Custom Vantage Office, you have many reports, everything from invoices and orders to financial reports, customer reports, etc. And sometimes a report doesn't quite meet your needs, or you'd like something that's a little different or has something additional. So I wanted to look at a few things. First is, in this example, I have an invoice and I'm selling this item for one price, but if we edit the inventory item, we'll see that the retail price is higher than what I'm selling it for. So when I print or email my invoice report to the customer, it's showing that it has a retail price of 16, they're getting a 13% discount, and they're buying it for $13.95. So let's just say, for example, that I want an invoice that does not show any discounts at all. It simply shows the net price and the total. So from this print screen, I would come and find the particular report that I want to start with, and I'm going to save this as a custom version. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is you cannot edit any of the stock reports, but you can edit a copy of them. So what I'm going to do is select the report and click on the designer. Now, when I click on the designer, it's going to bring up that particular report, even though this is a custom report. I'll just acknowledge any errors, no issues, and it brings it up. And you'll notice that even though I'm editing a known report, it actually says new layout 1. And that is because you can't edit any of the custom version, stock versions. So what we're going to do is we're going to first save the report, and I'm going to give it a new name, and I'm just going to call this custom invoice, and I'm going to make a note that this is invoice with no discounts. I'm going to save the report. Now, once I do that, it's going to ask me again, give me an opportunity to change the name and where this report will be found. In other words, will it be an order, an invoice, a check, etc.? The best way to do it is to leave it in custom reports. And I'll explain that momentarily. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to answer no to this question. Private report means that no one else will have access to this report. So I'm going to say no. Once I've saved that, this new report exists. I'm going to close this and I'm going to exit. And I'm going to exit. Then I'm going to come up to report and I'm going to go to custom reports. And guess what? There's that custom report that I just made. Now, when I hit designer, I can actually edit this report. So it opens up, it's ready to go. Now, in this case, everything that you see on the report is visual. When I select it, its properties, whatever I select, the properties of that object are here. Now, very, very important. You cannot delete anything you see. And the reason is, if we look at the script portion, we've got a lot of code written to handle the objects on that page. And if you delete it, the code doesn't delete, and so the report will throw errors because there will be code trying to do something to an object that no longer exists. Okay. Now, in this particular case, if we wanted to do what I said, I want to hide the retail pricing and discounts. So this is the label that showed at the top, and this is the field, and I know because the field is named TXT retail price, and this one is named LBL for label retail price. So I'm going to come up to visible, and I'm going to put it false, meaning it's not visible. So these two things will no longer be visible. Same thing here. I'm going to change the actual dollar field, and I'm going to also make it visible false and the discount visible false. Now, so that you won't drive yourself crazy when there's a problem, there are two more things that you really must do. In the bottom left corner, there's a text object here. It's a label that says the report name and version. So once I click on it, I can come over here to the text, and I'm going to change this to custom invoice. And I'm going to put today's date. Okay. Save that. Now, I should be done, but I want to double check something. So if I looked at this, this object is called TXT retail price. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go to the script, and I'm going to just click any place blank. I'm going to hit the standard Control F as in Frank, which really is find. Control F is find. And I'm going to paste that in there. And I'm going to look for that object. And here's the reason I'm going to look for the object. Because in this case, even though I said it was not visible, there's code in here that says set visible to true if a certain condition exists. So what we want to do is change that to false so that no matter what the condition, it's going to remain visible false. So I've made my custom report, I've modified it. Now, because it only shows up in custom reports when someone goes to print an invoice, in this case, it's not going to print my customized version. So I need to make one more step. Go to report menu at the top, and we're going to custom report mapping. So I'm going to say the default report is invoice, and there it is. And instead, I want it to print the customized report, which is custom invoice. And I want to enable that rule. So now when I'm on the invoice and I print or email, we get a version that does not show the discounts. And if we scroll down here, and we'll see, I'm going to zoom way in to make this easier to see. When I scroll down to the bottom, it shows that it's the custom invoice. And that's why it's so important to put that label there, so that if there's a problem or you're not sure what report you're printing, you know by looking at the bottom what report. So I know it's a custom invoice. I'm going to look in my custom reports folder if I needed to edit it. I hope you found that simple. Now, I say simple, but I understand that it can be very complicated, particularly with script coding in the back. So you have to be very careful when you're doing that. But I think if you take a couple of moments and watch this video again to see the steps that I took, you will find it very simple. So really, to outline it, we're going to, one, edit the stock report, which is going to throw a fake error when it comes up. Just click OK and acknowledge it. Two, you're going to hit the save button, which will save it as a new version of the report, and you would call it whatever you want to call it. Three, place it into the custom reports section. Four, say no to private report unless for some reason you want that report only to be available for this particular logged in user. Five, go to the reports menu and under custom reports, now hit the designer for the new custom report that you've created, make your changes, and then finally go to the top to report, custom report mapping, and set up the mapping from the default report to your new custom report. Thank you for choosing Custom Vantage Office.